So you're never immune to something always going wrong. Man, it's always something. Never could just work and be done. I guess that just wouldn't be fun then, right? So we just took the car for a ride and had a good time with it, as you guys see in the videos. Not an issue here per se, but we definitely have an issue under the car. Yeah, yeah. This old thing isn't that. I'm talking about the new stuff there. Yep. You know, like I said in the last video, there was some oil coming out from somewhere, but really didn't figure out where it was at yet. Pretty sure that we have an evacuation problem at this point, and I'm pretty sure it's in the back of the motor. Well, you know what they say, do it right the first time or you're gonna have to do it again. So we are currently on our way over to Advanced Auto Parts to get some gaskets and to get some fluids, because we have to change something on Dad's car's motor, because it is, we got a little situation going on. So never fails with Foxbodies, never fails. And even seasoned veterans get to learn a lesson twice again. You know, in my defense though, I had thought that I had made sure that the part that I put on the motor was the correct one, but I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah, it's a $30 mistake that we got going on here. So we'll get into the shop and I'll show you what we got going on here. Obviously, if you can't figure it out, break my hands. Gotta start taking stuff apart. Stupid snow. You know, you start messing with these Foxbodies, start boosting them, start making power. Gotta figure you gotta deal with stuff like this. So let me explain what happened. In the back of the car, we took it on those couple test sits, right? And I always vent my intake with, you know, this little sock apparatus, whatever, it works. The first time we took it out, it made a little bit of a puddle. And the second time we took it out, it made a whole bunch of puddles. So I said to myself, well, maybe this thing popped off or maybe the screen pulled out or whatever, but that's not the case. It had a screen in there, which this is very important in your intake. And this was pretty much good because we figured this out. We did this and then we went for another hit and made an even bigger puddle. So what we were gonna do was just seal all the back of the intake and be done with it. And maybe even possibly put an intake gasket on. But we found out that we were wrong all the way around. And let me show you. Best ways for me to explain it is to show you a lower intake. Anyways, on the bottom of your intake is a baffle. You see the little baffle? The factory ones are small, but what this actually does is a shield that keeps the oil from sucking up into the PCV and going into your intake system. It's part of the PCV system. But on my intake that I just looked in Pop's car, I can see the cam lobe. So what's that tell me? So in the back of the block, I can see right into the cam. That tells me that if I was able to see through the baffle, then there's no baffle there at all. You see what I mean? And that would explain why we have puddles of oil every time we take it on hit. So I can't go to the dyno making a big puddle of oil all over the bottom of the dyno. I'm not gonna do that. So me and Cousin Paul are just gonna fix it. Shouldn't take us too long. The shitty part is the coolant. You know, I always hate redoing the coolant, but anyway, stay tuned and we're gonna get through it. So tips of the trade, I got a little pump thing that I use. I made from Home Depot stuff that I use for my transmission fluid or whatever, but we're gonna pop this radiator hose off and we're gonna try to suck out, since I always put a drill, like a little hole in the thermostat, we're gonna try to suck out as much antifreeze as we can so we don't have too much of a mess where it contaminates our oil. So you can see we're in the first stages of evacuation 2. So we figured while we were at it, I made this valve cover years ago and actually just punched a hole in it. It's a driver's side one, put a little bit of seal on it, and you know, we run the same type of breather that we do in the back. Obviously we need to clean it up, but Cousin Fred's over here gonna wash it real good and we're gonna paint it aluminum. Unfortunately, we can't run with the, I'm not gonna have him, we're not gonna cut chrome valve covers up. I mean, I love those things. I've had those for years. So we decided on, instead of doing another intake, I know we keep changing our mind here, but you know, that's what content's for. We're gonna take this intake off. We're actually gonna try to repair it with a broken GT40 lower that we got. You know, this was broken by UPS years ago on the corner here, and it's got the plate that I need. See this? So what we're gonna do, instead of having to do all the work of getting a new bung re-welded into an intake that don't match, we're just gonna grind all these nubs off. We're gonna grab this plate, which is made for that intake, which is the same one that came off, and we're just gonna set screw with red Loctite, put this plate back on, that way oil doesn't go up into our mesh filter and through our PCV. Since it's gonna be vented at the valve cover now, it's gonna alleviate quite a bit of, and with that being there, it'll keep the oil off the floor. So it's the same type of setup that I got on my black and my white car. I got 3 spots of ventilation. Technically, we should be running a catch can, right? That's the right optimal thing to do here, but this has worked for years, pretty much up till now. To not get too much antifreeze right down in here, and you can see, I'll show you the bottom of the intake here in a second, but what we're gonna do is, me and cousin Paul, it's gonna like to try to contaminate some of my oil, and it's okay if a little bit of antifreeze gets in there, but we're gonna bring our little apparatus that we showed you earlier, and we're gonna suck most of the antifreeze out. That way when we're putting it back together, it doesn't keep getting on our gasket sealers and stuff. So all right, so this is the lower, and let me confirm this is exactly, yep, look at that. So what we're gonna end up doing is grinding these down, and I'm just gonna make new inserts here and just put that plate back on. But that's exactly why this I'm blowing oil all over the ground. I don't know what I was thinking, you know. So as you can see, we pulled about a gallon out ish, and it's definitely kind of a smart thing to do, because then you don't have to fight this puddle back here and this one in the front when you're installing and getting all over your gasket sealer. I mean, we're making a legitimate mess here, but we're cleaning it up, and after I get the intake, actually get the plate on it, we get the old one off, you know, we're gonna be gluing it back down and reinstalling. So I'm about to pull this other valve cover off as well, and cousin Fred's already got the thing ready to go. Guys, this is that maintenance. This is that turbo maintenance that I'm always telling you guys about in live streams. I'm always telling you guys about. I'm not here to try to teach you how to Foxbody, bro. This is just stuff that we do. This is what we're good at. This is what we've been doing for years. So luckily I have spare parts to fix the parts that I already have. I don't even know why my knucklehead ass let that thing get on there without that baffle anyways. I freaking knew better. You know what they say, do it right the first time or do it again, right? Who said golf balls don't have their use, bro? Who said they don't have their use? It'll at least keep that stuff down, that way cousin Paul can get it cleaned up or whatever, and then we'll blow out and clean off whatever's left. Now, we got a lot of stuff going on today, don't we? You know, got the plate off, not too bad. We'll go ahead and just drill this thing on, but you can see how bad this stuff gets. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea on some of these old GT40 intakes, and even your stock one that's got a smaller plate, is to pop this thing off and then kind of just maybe put your own little screws and Loctite back in, because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this mounted on the other one. I'll show you guys, but look how dirty it is. It's even worse under the intake. So we had to do a little bit of modifications, bro, but this is part of Foxbodying, baby. Here you go. So we got the plate on, we drilled some holes. This is definitely gonna keep the oil splash from coming up through my PCV area, but we ended up, you know, using a lot of Loctite and some self-tapping screws. It's not, you know, it's really not that bad of an idea for you to do this to your intake anyways, just to get underneath of it and clean. You'd be surprised on what's underneath this. It's nothing but garbage. We got everything cleaned. Cousin Fred's gonna clean the rest of the gasket sealer up, and we're going to start installing the, all right, 417 Fox. Cousin Paul needs a oil filter coffee mug. If you guys don't know who 417 Fox is, Mike sells these. They're pretty cool little coffee mugs. So we're just going to put a new filter on This is for the driver's head, the driver's valve cover. Just make it look like that. I'm not super worried about what it looks like. It's functional. That's all that matters to me. I go right here. Give me just enough breathe out of this valve cover where it kind of releases some crankcase pressure. But one of the problems, you know, we put a little sock around it so that, you know, the air and the oil in the air will just get caught up in it. Like, again, it's not optimal, but, you know, catch can will be better, but it is what it is. This is good. This is fun. Hours later, we got most of the top end back together. We're missing a couple bolts. We got a couple things we got to finish, but you know, vacuums. But this is pretty much it, guys. This is what happens when you're fox bodying. But you got, so it's always nice to have extra parts. This is why I never say throw away all your parts, you know, just because they're in your garage. But we did end up making a vacuum. I did this years ago, and I had it sitting on my shelf for like 10 years ago. So that side breeze, this side breeze, and the back breeze, which is plenty perfect ventilation for a stock bottom end. I just wish that was the rags were black or a little bit different color. Yeah, guys, it's about it. So we're gonna take a break real quick, finish the couple things we got, and we'll be firing it up here shortly, and maybe take it for a ride, clean up our mess, take it for a ride, make sure that the oil is not coming out anymore. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit of remnants from where it was before, but you know, it won't be a big puddle like it was. So let's see if we fixed it, and then the next step is to take it to the dyno and make sure the air feels right. Start tinkering. Distributor, I'm gonna bump the key over and see if I'm on the right tooth because I screwed up, and I usually mark my distributor, but I forgot to take the cap off, and you know. All right, go ahead and see if that fires. You out of gear? So our timing was a little bit off. I think I'm about a tooth off, so we're gonna go backwards. So we were one tooth off, so I just went backwards one tooth on the camshaft, and it put the distributor right where I wanted it. So these plug wires definitely aren't our trial periods right now. So these are not what we're going to be going with the whole time. But we'll get to that one day when if it works, it works. Sometimes you just leave it alone. Now we're gonna set this back to 10 degrees. Go ahead and fire it up, bro. Brother. Just gonna lock that down. We were at 10 degrees. So I think we're pretty much good. Go ahead and fire it up. Just let it run. So it looks like our rag already got its first oil stain, but I remember we took this off because this used to get a little bit more stained than I wanted to. So this is a temporary fix for now. But it looks to be breathing perfectly fine. It's not splashed oil all over the place down there. And we don't have oil all over the ground here. So what we learned today, don't take your baffle off your intake, Dan, when you put the stuff on the car. So guys, I apologize, it's been a long video. A lot of things were covered in here. Couldn't have done it without my boy, Cousin Paul, Cousin Fred. If you guys enjoyed the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Check that merch shelf out for some t-shirts and apparel. Make sure you guys check out that join button below, the membership. It goes to fund some of the fun things like we do here. So outside of that, I just appreciate you watching the channel. Appreciate you subbing the channel. Appreciate you listening to me ramble. So hit that comment below if you learned something today, and enjoy what we do here. See you soon.